Everybody is looking for answers about where we come from and what we believe. What if the gods you know were once forgotten? Could ancient faiths hold secrets that challenge everything we believe? Are we ready to uncover the truths buried for millennia? Welcome, friends. Long ago, people believed there were many gods everywhere. Gods lived in rivers, the sky, the sun, and the earth. When leaves moved or lightning flashed, people thought the gods were sending messages. Our ancestors looked at the stars and saw stories about gods, not just lights in the sky. These beliefs, filled with wonder, helped create the first cities and groups of people. In a place called the Fertile Crescent, the Sumerians built cities and big temples called ziggurats. Gods like Inanna and Enlil were part of their daily lives. Priests tried to understand what the gods wanted by reading signs and looking at the stars. Religion was part of everyday life. It helped people feel safe and made sense of the world. People believed everything that happened had a reason and meaning. Now these old religions are mostly gone, but the big questions they asked are still with us. Before we had science, people used stories and myths to explain the world. These stories were our first way of trying to understand life. Even though the old gods are gone, their stories still help us search for meaning. Our journey to find our place in the universe started with them. Where do we fit in this huge universe? We still wonder every time we look up at the stars. In Mesopotamia and Egypt, religion was at the heart of daily life. People looked to the gods for answers about nature, life, and death. People in Mesopotamia believed in many gods. These gods acted like people, but were much more powerful and sometimes unpredictable. Each city had its own special god or goddess, and people built temples to honor them. Stories like the Epic of Gilgamesh show that their gods could be dangerous and even destroy humans if they wanted. People offered sacrifices and held festivals to keep the gods happy and avoid disasters like floods or droughts. In Egypt, people believed their gods like Ra and Osiris brought order to the world. The Nile River and life after death were very important to them. The yearly flooding of the Nile was seen as a gift from the gods, making the land rich for farming. Egyptians thought their pharaohs were living gods who had to keep the world in balance. The pharaoh was the link between the gods and the people, and his job was to make sure the gods were pleased. Huge temples and groups of priests were very important in both places. Priests performed rituals, cared for the temples, and taught people about the gods. Egyptians cared a lot about life after death. That's why they built pyramids and made mummies. They believed that if the body was preserved, the soul could live forever in the afterlife. Both cultures believed that humans had to obey the gods. People prayed, made offerings, and followed religious rules to avoid angering the gods. For thousands of years, these religions helped people understand their world, until new beliefs replaced them. Trade, war, and new ideas from other lands slowly changed what people believed. Why did these powerful religions disappear? Sometimes new rulers brought new gods. Other times people wanted new answers to old questions. Even the greatest religions do not last forever. But the stories, temples, and art they left behind still shape our world today. Far to the east, the people of the Indus Valley built a great civilization. They were smart and organized, but we still don't know much about them. We haven't found big temples or long stories from them. Their writing is still a mystery. What we do have are small clues, like seals with animals and a figure sitting cross-legged, maybe an early version of the god Shiva. They seem to care a lot about nature and staying clean, as we see in the Great Bath. Clay statues of a mother goddess suggest they may have worshipped a strong female god. Their religion was simple, practiced at home, and closely connected to nature. When the Indus civilization faded, new people called Indo-Aryans came and brought the Vedas, their holy books. Old and new beliefs mixed together, changing over time instead of disappearing. The ideas from the Indus Valley still live on today, shaping the religions and traditions of South Asia. We may never know all the secrets the Indus people left behind. But sometimes what isn't said tells us the most about history. The Vedic religion began long ago, based on singing special songs and making offerings into fire. People believed in gods like Indra, Agni, and Soma, who controlled things like rain, fire, and plants. These rituals were done outside, using fire to keep the world in balance. There were no temples, just sacred fires. Later, some wise people started to wonder if there was more to life than just rituals. The Upanishads, old books of ideas, began to talk about deep questions. like what is the soul and what is the biggest truth. They taught that the soul inside us and the greatest truth called Brahman are really the same. Ideas like karma, what goes around comes around, samsara, being born again, and moksha, freedom from rebirth, became important. The old gods were not forgotten. They became part of the new beliefs. Hinduism grew by being flexible. It had no single founder and no strict rules for everyone. It became a huge tradition, always changing and taking in new ideas. This ability to change helped Hinduism last, even when other religions disappeared. So, can a tradition keep going by always changing, or does it lose itself? Hinduism is like a river, always moving but always there. For thousands of years, people believed in many gods, until the idea of one God started in the Middle East. First came Judaism, then Christianity and Islam. These new religions changed how people thought about faith. The old gods were banned. Their temples were destroyed or used for other things. Belief in many gods disappeared from Europe, North Africa, and the Middle East. But Hinduism survived, because India's land and Hinduism's flexible ways helped protect it. There was no single leader, so it was hard for outsiders to stop it. Local customs and ideas like karma and dharma brought people together. Today, Hinduism is the oldest major religion still practiced. Old rituals and gods are still part of life. People still ask big questions about life and the world. Most ancient religions disappeared, but Hinduism changed and kept going. Why did only one old religion last when others did not? Hinduism shows how change and tradition can work together. In the story of the gods, one faith still lives on today.